Top 10 Best African Presidential Palaces. Have you ever wondered what type of houses presidents live in? I'll bet that you only know about the White House. But these aren't the only nations who do the extra work of taking good care of their leaders. And they have to, because these men and women deserve all the security they can get. Especially in a continent that's experienced so many coup attempts and bloody successions. Nonetheless, here are the top 10 best African presidential palaces. Number 10. Flagstaff House, Ghana. The first thing one would notice about this gigantic structure is its similarity to an ancient sacrificial monument. Unfortunately, the design process that was in the mind of the Indian architect contracted for this $50 million project remains a secret between him and the John Ajakum Kufuor administration. Nonetheless, it's a breathtaking architectural wonder, one of the best that the West African country has to offer. The Flagstaff House is both the office and official residence of the Ghanaian president. Standing on the top floor of this magnificent structure is likely to offer you a viewing experience that stretches beyond the capital city where it's located. Ghana's Flagstaff House was initially inaugurated as Golden Jubilee House. Still, it remained Flagstaff probably because it was built on the same site that the British colonial government had built its administrative office. Number 9. Presidential Palace, Senegal. If you were in pursuit of experiencing African exquisiteness, then you might want to consider visiting the Presidential Palace of Senegal. Its magnificent architecture is a unique blend of modern influences and the undisputed African vibe it gives out. Its environmental serenity offers a soothing feel to the mind, so it's no surprise that the Senegalese government chose this mesmerizing haven as their president's residence and administrative office. The palace was built as far back as the early 1900s by Senegal's then Minister of the Colonies, Gaston Doumergue, whose intention it was to make it his administrative capital from where he would govern French West Africa. The presidential palace was designed by the renowned French architect Henri Deglan and was inaugurated as the Palace of the General Government. Number 8. State House, Namibia. Within the grounds of Windhoek's Ausblik suburb stands one of Namibia's most majestic structures, the State House. Everything that makes up the State House covers up to 25 hectares of land, including the exact location of the building and the large stretch of land that exceeds it. The glamorous architecture is dutifully protected by a solid steel fence that stretches for 2 kilometers. But that's not all. The building also features tinted glass guardrooms and towers that shoot an imposing look on both visitors and intruders. The State House doubles as the administrative capital of Namibia and the place where past and present Namibian presidents have chosen to rest at the end of an extremely busy day. However, the residential fate of future presidents largely depends on whether their government can afford the staggering 400 million Namibian dollars this stunning structure was erected. And if they can't, Windhoek would be happy to house them too. This architectural masterpiece was designed by Mansudae Overseas Project, a North Korean company, and was built in 4.5 years. Number 7. State House, Uganda. The State House Uganda is a sprawling land space that lies 40 kilometers south of its capital, Kampala. The State House is popular for standing side by side with the building wherein the Queen of England was hosted during her visit to Uganda for a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. The State House sparkles with its immaculate white painted walls and bright orange-coloured roof. Palms are laced around the main compound, establishing an atmosphere of tranquility and serenity. Number 6. Presidential Palace, Mauritania. The home and administrative office of the President of Mauritania is an enormous structure that boasts of being the most outstanding landmark in the capital city of Nouakchott. Tall palm trees surround its architectural beauty and complement it in the exact manner it does to the streets of Miami. The country's flag beams with pride several feet above its two supporting towers. The palace is a next-door neighbour to the United States Embassy and lies northwest of the Lebanese International University. More so, it's a few blocks away from the nation's central bank. Number 5. Unity Palace, Cameroon. A beaming Cameroonian flag stands on a proud colossal structure known as the Unity Palace, home to Cameroon's #1 citizen. Its spotless white pillars and walls speak highly of its genuine responsibility in guarding the very man whose decision greatly affects all Cameroonians. The Unity Palace is adorned by lush greenery that inspires an atmosphere of tranquility and serenity. Imagine walking around the building and the cool breeze from the well-groomed trees slapping your face in meditative ecstasy. This is where past and present leaders of Cameroon have chosen to rest their busy brains since November 6, 1982. Waterfalls are laced around the palace, sprinkling towards the sky with incredible flair and falling back into its pristine blue waters. The Unity Palace is located at Etoudi, Yaoundé, Cameroon. Number 4. Presidential Palace, Sudan. The Presidential Palace of Sudan does not fail to deliver the architectural ecstasy that it's required to have. The rooms are adorned with several antiques and relics that you won't find anywhere else in the world. This majestic structure extends its grandeur to all Sudanese from its location at Blue Nile Street, Khartoum, and lies adjacent to the Palace Museum. The palace is the official administrative office and home of the Sudanese president. The current presidential palace is located next to the old structure known to have been built by Governor Charles Gordon when the African country was still under British colonial rule. As it turns out, Governor Gordon was decapitated on January 26, 1885, on the northwestern stairway of the former palace. The Sudanese government built a newer structure 130 years later and inaugurated it on January 26, 2015, reminiscent of the death of Charles Gordon. To this day, the administrative residence is popularly called Gordon's Palace. Number 3. Yavaloa Palace, Madagascar. The Yavaloa Palace finds comfort at the base of a hilltop. It exudes the vibe of a countryside home, while also maintaining its grandeur as the official residence of the President of Madagascar. Its sparkling white paint and green roof effortlessly blend with the beautiful body of nature that surrounds it. Before it became the administrative abode of Mauritanian presidents, it served as the home of the 17th and 18th century Merina monarchs. Madagascar was formerly known as the Kingdom of Imerina before it was attacked and conquered by France in 1894. Although it still retained its name during years of colonial rule, It's known today as Madagascar. Number 2. Union Building, Pretoria. Sir Herbert Baker must have been overwhelmed by some spiritual inspiration when he designed this gigantic, 285 meters long architectural wonder. I mean, no offense. The buildings are situated in Pretoria and house the office of the President of South Africa and the official seat of the South African Parliament. The buildings are remarkable for their light sandstone structure, and more recently, the statue of Mandela smiles back at you as you approach its outer courts. Similar to most African president palaces, the environs characterize lush greenery that exudes the much-needed oxygen required for its occupants to breathe, think, and live. 2 prime pillars stand on opposite sides of the monumental structure, with their gigantic needle-like tops pointing directly at the sky as though it threatens to pierce through space and time. The Union Building also houses South Africa's Foreign Affairs Minister and is currently one of the most popular tourist attractions in Africa. Number 1. Abdeen Palace, Egypt. Egypt holds the reputable title of being one of the world's oldest centers of civilization. At a time in history, the African nation was as respected as modern-day America. It was, and still is, a country basking in wealth and affluence. Yet its ancient monuments are second to none. It then makes enough sense to expect the exotic display of style and wealth within the walls of its presidential palace. But interestingly, the Egyptian presidential palace exceeds your expectations, and it does that with style. Several gold-plated wall clocks hang on its inexhaustible wall space, and side by side, beautiful and invaluable paintings. The palace is located in Egypt's capital, Cairo, and houses among its 500 suites the main office and bedroom of the President of Egypt. The floors in and outside this monumental palace are as clear as the sky above. This is because it was home to the monarchy before the system was done away with in 1952. If there's one thing all African presidential palaces have in common, it will be the brilliant white painting exuding a White House vibe and the peace that envelops the environment. Quite ironic for one of the busiest places on the continent. If there are new updates to these incredible palaces that weren't mentioned in our video, kindly do well to share them in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, what in the world are you waiting for? Kindly do so now